My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped him generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for coming today. We're going to end up breaking down our new content framework or our new marketing framework that has helped us generate a lot more traffic, a lot more leads, and it's been working out quite well. Salo, do you want to share your screen? All right. So let's get started. This is pretty much, as I mentioned, the new marketing strategy that we've been using for the last 3 months. It's been super effective. We want to share it with you guys step by step so you guys can pretty much use it as well. So my name is Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. We're a global ad agency. Salo here has been working with me for, I don't know how many years, 6, 7, Salo? 8?
Yeah, about that.
Some,
Yeah, maybe 8.
yeah, super creative, one of the most creative marketers that I know. But do you want to give a quick introduction on yourself, Salo?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone to be here, taking the time. My name is Saulo Medeiros. I'm the VP of Marketing at NP Digital, but also I'm one of the founders of NP Digital in Brazil, together with Neil, Mike, and a few other people. Um, Happy to be here and happy to share all our secrets.
Awesome. So let's dive right in. As I mentioned, we're NP Digital. We're a global ad agency. Pretty much probably should adjust the number, but we're pretty much at 1,000+ people, 19 plus countries, won a lot of awards. And the reason being is the strategies and the concepts work. So when we break them down today, just keep that in mind. When you think about marketing, it's all about gathering attention. And there's this new attention economy. Attention is the most important currency in marketing. If you can't get the attention, you're not going to do well. And if you think about it, digital media consumption in the US keeps rising. And it's not just the US, it's globally. So people are continually consuming content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, the list goes on. And the consumption is continually increasing over and over time. If you're on these channels, that's one thing. But if you're not getting the attention from these people who are on these platforms, it doesn't matter. So being on them isn't good enough. And when you look at how people are spending their time online, it's over 7 hours and 4 minutes, right? Majority is on, either a mobile device or a computer, but it's split a good amount. And when you think about that, whether it's mobile or computers, people are leveraging the same channels, whether it's Instagram, a Facebook, a YouTube, email, whether they're looking at just browsing the web, they're using all these channels. And again, you got to be where people are. And it was funny because 10 plus years ago, people didn't care about mobile as much, but these days, especially in certain countries like India or Brazil, a lot of them are mobile first countries. So that's super important for you to keep that in mind, assuming you want to expand globally. And with content, there's over 4.6 billion pieces of content produced each day. Just think about that for a minute. There's less than 8 billion people in the world. In 2 days, enough content's produced where that's one piece of content for each and every single person. That's a lot of content that's being produced each day, and it's a big problem. And the reason it's a big problem is if you look at Google, it's mainly 10 results on the first page. We track over 7 billion keywords. 94.29% of the web pages in Google over the last 30 days received no organic traffic, not one visitor from Google. Just think about that. Majority of the content being created isn't really getting organic traffic. And the same goes with social traffic. Roughly 59.4% of the content is getting no engagement, no likes, no shares, no comments. And what's funny is people like, well, I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram and I see tons of content with tons of engagement. Well, their algorithms are only showing you the stuff that is getting engagement. Because if they showed you the stuff that's not doing well, you wouldn't be using the platform as much because you wouldn't be happy with the content that they're feeding you. So the real question is how do you get this attention? Because if you don't get this attention, you're just wasting your time. And the first thing that you need to understand is attention is earned. Just being on these platforms, pushing out content doesn't give you a right to get people's attention. You have to earn it. And here's a great example of this. This is Charlie D'Amelio. And people like Prada or Amazon partner with her because she has the attention. So what companies are now doing is they're starting to partner with people who have the attention versus trying to create it from scratch, which is much harder to do. So now let's talk about turning attention into results. So when you think about social media views, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, here are my views over the last 3 months, and it's changed quite a bit, right? LinkedIn grew 46.7%, Instagram grew 29.5%, YouTube grew 31.4%. All these small gains really do add up. And if you look at my blog post traffic, I'm also getting 103.8% more traffic to my new blog post than I was getting in the past. And it doesn't stop there. My webinar signups have not only tripled with my email list pretty much being the same size, but my revenue has also went up per webinar from 158,000 to 460,000. It's not a killer, right? But every little bit adds up. It's not like one webinar is going to make my business, but again, every little bit adds up.
So what is the secret behind this, Neil? Let's share with everybody. And
let's do it.
We prepared this formula. Of course, this will vary according to your business, but it's pretty much usable for every single one here on this room, as long as you have the platforms and the tools that we will teach you here. All right. So the strategy starts with a strategic reducing how much posts are you producing and are you getting out of the door. And instead of posting like hundreds of different posts with little to none value, we decide to just post things that will add value to people. And when we start doing that, we saw some interesting things. And we see some networks, some social networks like X, being a good platform because it can give you some guidance on what your audience is looking for because of engagement, and because X is not punishing your account if you don't deliver like such a high value in a single post, in opposite to the other social networks like Instagram, for instance. If you keep delivering crap on your social media, basically your reach will overall decrease. But like in also the X platform, it's connected with a lot of different tools, and one of them is the Tweet Hunter. And by using this tool, you can easily identify what is trending, what is becoming hot on your industry by following the key people that are sharing content about your industry. So, whoever is on Twitter right now should install this little widget on your browser, and you will immediately start receiving some insights from it on what you should be creating posts about. And what we did was, all right, we saw that X is a good platform. We saw that our reach was not decreasing at all if we post something that is not performing so well. So we start running content experiments inside the X platform. So you can see on these screenshots, one of the tweets on April 4 is showing engagement of 5,000 people who saw the tweet and somehow engaged with that. You see also the hearts and the shares and the comments. So you combine everything, you have like your total engagement. But if you look at the other side, in the right side, you will see here the 94,000 people who saw this tweet and somehow at least clicked to see and to show more and to see the entire message. So that kind of engagement, that difference of engagement, tell us a lot of things, especially where the attention is. So instead of talking more about how the head of Instagram reveals the truth about followers count, we instead opt to talk more about 0 to 100,000, 10,000 followers, and what we should do to achieve that. And if you look at those two tweets, you start seeing like what is behind the engagement, what people is looking for to consume from your account, and then like uh, the difference of those two posts, for instance, is that the first one is talking about someone else and maybe providing some concepts and some highlights about what they're talking about the platform. But the right side is just giving people like the tips and the actionable items to act upon. So is how we start shaping our strategy. So posting less can be effective if you have more impactful posts, but also it's useful for you to test different topics, format, posting times, and frequency. You should do that in your strategy, and probably you'll find some good and very interesting patterns that your audience is providing to you by the engagement according to the post. All right, so to do that, for you to use that strategy on your industry and your company, you should identify the right platforms and use that to post the initial content testing. So let's say majority of your audience is still on Facebook, so you should use that platform. Of course, you're not just looking at the organic reach of Facebook, because that can be very little, but you can put some money to test some ideas, and then see each of those ads have more engagement, and then turn them into a more advanced kind of content strategy.
So now let's talk about mastering content hooks. You only have really a few seconds to really capture someone's attention. Microsoft Canada did an experiment and they found that humans have actually a shorter attention span than goldfishes. So the hook really matters. It's really what's the first line, whether it's a video or text, that can capture people's attention. But times are changing. It used to be where clickbait produced the best results, and now when I post clickbait, on average, it gets 477 percent less engagement. People don't want clickbait. Instead, they want you to talk about things that are new, that are fresh, that others aren't talking about. And what we found is, to create the best hook, you got to brainstorm. So for example, I brainstormed with my team, they were talking about like, oh, content's not king. And I was like, content's not king, the new approach to content marketing. And I said, people like it because they'll be wondering what is the new approach? Not trying to necessarily do clickbait, but more so trying to evoke curiosity. And what we found is the key to a good hook is you share something new that no one's talked about, have a unique take on whatever you're talking about. Like most people believe content is king, or social media is for brand awareness. We say content's not king. Social media can be used for direct conversions, bottom of the funnel, not just top. The third thing is you need to be bold when possible. If that means you have a contrarian viewpoint, that's fine as well. The fourth is consider using facts or stat. A lot of our hooks just contain stats. And the fifth one is address common misconceptions. What do most people believe to be true that you believe is false? Or what does most people believe that's false that you believe to be true? That's a common misconception. Peter Thiel talks about this quite a bit, and that has worked out well. And here's some examples of good hooks that we've tested. Here's the ideal posting frequency for each social network. You're not going to like the Facebook data. You're wasting your time creating social media content. The biggest mistake marketers make with keyword research. You're creating the wrong type of content. A lot of them are just statements. A lot of them are bold. And this is the kind of stuff that we found to be working really well for most industries in both B2B and B2C. You also need to maintain viewer engagement. It's not just about capturing them with a hook. If you can't adjust your content for each social network, that's fine in the beginning, but in the long run, you ideally want to. You need to post lo-fi content. It's more authentic and real, creates better retention from what we've seen. People are also, very emotional. Like think about a movie. If you can take them through an emotional roller coaster, that helps too. And if you can back up your talking points with stats and data, it keeps people engaged as well from what we've seen. Now, did you know on average, lo-fi content gets 34.04% more likes and 18.52% more comments? We did an analysis on Instagram, and I believe we also did it on TikTok. I know Instagram for sure, but lo-fi content really performed much, much better. The next thing that you need to know is your content needs to be continually tested and optimized, right? It's not just enough to go out there and just say, hey, I'm posting content and we're good to go. We found that short form videos perform the best from a viewpoint, long form videos next, then interviews and podcasts. But you can actually do the first three all together. For example, if you did a long form podcast interview, that's a long form video and an interview / podcast, and then you can chop it up into short form pieces of content as well. Here's a fun fact. Short form videos have 4.84 times higher engagement rate than text. This is a study that we ended up doing. A lot of people are like, oh, text is everything. It's not. Text is great. You should still use it, but you need to create the other content formats that these popular platforms want. Twitter likes text, but LinkedIn likes videos. TikTok likes videos. Instagram and YouTube likes videos. So does Facebook. And here's a rough amount of time that you should be posting per platform. You can just take a screenshot if you want this. You can also find our presentations on Twitter as well, so you can see it there too. And, before I hand it back over to Salo, I want you to keep in mind fused, right? The winning combination is really fused when you're thinking about your content. And what I mean by that is you got to think about your funnel. your unique accounts reach with social media. You need to think about zero click. When you are driving people away from the platform, you're not going to do as well. They don't want people clicking away unless it's an ad. You got to think about your engagement, and you want to retain people as long as possible, and of course dwell time. But these are the things to keep in mind when creating social media content and posting on the social web.
Yeah, exactly. And now talking about the fourth step of our strategy is repurposing content across platforms. If you look at this timeline here, it goes from the X post, and then we turn this X post into a short form video. After that, we turn that into a blog post or a long form video, long form kind of content. And if that keeps performing well, we turn that into a webinar, more advanced campaigns, and we spend money on ads because we know, based on data, that this message or this angle about that specific topic is appealing for our audience. And you can do exactly that. Of course, feel free to modify a few steps that works for you, and that should work for you as well. And when we started doing that, uh, we saw a lot of engagement. Our content, short form content, start receiving more views, more likes, more shares, as you can see on the right side. But not just that, the long forms, just the webinars, they immediately start generating uh, almost the double of signups and sometimes triple the signups. Not just the signups, but the attendees also increase. This example is showing the Contents Not King webinar. We had 7,000, people live. So this is growing, and based on data, we can trust that to be a successful campaign. And then what should you do to convert popular posts into videos? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to take the content exactly as is and just read it as a script for your short form video. This is exactly what we are doing and Neil is doing. He's taking the X posts, and he is using the teleprompter to read it word by word. So you don't need to overcomplicate the things. And of course, like that's the second step. Like the short form video, sometimes they don't perform well as expected. So we saw like we try to demystify the engagement. Like doesn't mean that expose being successful will be successful throughout the entire funnel or the entire journey. And whenever we see the engagement dropping, we abandon this campaign and we focus on something else. So hopefully this is useful for you. And the distribution strategy across the social media, the blogs, your own channels, such as your own website and etc. Sometimes you can even repurpose your content to be a next intent pop-up, as we're doing in our npgso.com website. Every time we have some thought leadership to share with the world, we change the exit intent pop-up to match the people's agenda at that moment. So that's it's kind of the techniques you should use to amplify your reach. So you can optimize your titles, your captions. You can strategically pick some hashtags, and also maybe tweaking it a little bit for advertising title, a headline for your next blog post, things like that. You learn as you grow with the strategy. And I'll hand over to Neil. He will go deeper into the blog post development.
Yeah, so going to number 5, what we really love doing is we take our most popular short form content and then turn them into blog posts because we know it worked on X, we know it worked for short form, and then turning it into a blog post, chances are it's going to work. And that's how we've really seen a big increase in blog traffic. We also don't worry too much on, oh, is a blog really long or short? You know, it used to be where people wanted 2,300 word articles to rank #1 on Google. Well, things are changing, especially with TikTokification, in which people are used to shorter form content. And when we analyze the most popular pieces of content out there, and we did it, you know, for different industries, we found that people prefer actually shorter form content, even in text, than longer form. And here's a cheat code for crafting a killer title. If a hook performed well on X, it's likely to be a great headline for a blog post. And when I mean headline, I'm talking about a title. I love this quote from David Ogilvy. On average, 5 times as many people read the headline as they read the body copy. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar, right? What he's talking about for a blog post in this case would be the title. We take the first line from our X post and we typically just make it the title of our blog post. You can also take advantage of AI, ChatGPT, and Gemini can help you turn your social post into a blog post, help you with research, help you expand it, give you more ideas. And here's a prompt that you can end up using for that. But I would tell you to also be careful as well. You know, some people rely too much on AI. We did a study. We took 68 websites and we created 744 articles, half AI, half human written. After 5 months, the human written content had drastically more traffic, pretty much looking at a little bit more than 5 times the amount of traffic. Now, does this mean AI content's bad? No, we're not saying that. All we're saying is just AI without human intervention and humans not modifying it, it just tends not to perform as well. And here's a quick one before I go into the next slide. I put this on X over the weekend. You know, we did research on this. Salo ended up creating the beautiful graphs for me. But we did an analysis on AI written content. And when I say we did an analysis, we did something really interesting in which we took 1.8 million visitors and we took tons and tons of articles that were human written, not AI written, human written. And at the top of the articles, for a third of the traffic, we said written by AI. Even though it was written by humans, we literally said written by AI to see what would happen to the read time. And then with a portion of the articles, we put written by AI and modified by a human. So even though all the content was written by human, we wanted to see what people, how they change what they do, or if they change anything that they did when they thought AI could have wrote the article. Again, this pieces of content were written by human and no AI was actually used. The average read time when people assumed it was written by a human was 2 minutes and 36 seconds. The written by AI and modified by human, it went down to 1 minute and 58 seconds. So from 2 minute 36 seconds to 1 minute 58 seconds. And then when we just used the disclaimer of AI written, so they didn't even feel humans were involved, the read time went down to 1 minute and 21 seconds, almost half. It's kind of crazy to think. Also, with your content, another thing to keep in mind is you need to think about drive, right? You need data, you need a review, you need insights, you need visuals, and you need good energy. Energy is like the tone, you know, and making sure the article's upbeat and not negative. But when you do this within your content, we find that it just performs so much better. And of course, before I hand it back to Salo, don't forget to promote your blog posts through emails. When we release a blog post, we do emails, push notifications, social media. We really get it out there, you know, and when you do that, it makes a world of difference. When you don't do that, you just don't get as much traction later on. We even email out people who we think would be curious about reading it. And we even message people on like Twitter and other social networks, be like, hey, check this out. We don't ask them to share it. Some of them naturally do, but we just send it to people who we think would be interested in knowing more about it. A lot of people ignore us. We're okay with that, right? It's a numbers game.
Exactly. It just a fun fact. The other day, we saw a slightly drop in leads for the quiz on our website. On the exit intent, we have the quiz, and we are searching for the reason, and we found that was because we didn't send the email about the content at that week. So the emails will not just help you getting more
Yeah, I was
attention in
traveling and Sal was
eyeballs.
spot on. We didn't send an email.
Exactly. So then it also affects the leads. So be mindful about it, because there is a lot of money on your list, especially on your email. And I challenge you to try to purchase something online without giving your email or phone number. So those two assets from you is like half of a sale if you think on that perspective. Try to go to like online website e-commerce and try to buy without giving your email. It's really almost no platform will accept. So you have the money, but if you don't give your email, say no transaction. So then let's talk about the webinar production, because as this webinar is happening, did you know that we have like 2 months in advance of preparation for every single webinar? So this is huge, and you should take notes about it if you want to run successful webinars. We'll share with you a very important steps. So what we basically do before we went to the production part of the webinar is that we analyze all the posts that we share. We analyze engagement. We take the top two best performers across the platforms, and then we turn them into webinars. And what we're looking for in terms of engagement is impressions, comments, reposts, and shares. Of course, there are the webinar candidates. The candidates are basically the topics. And of course, there is this test component that is very important for you to run a successful webinar. But if you want to take a screenshot about this slide, this is just a simplified version of a checklist that we do every time we run a webinar. So during the preparation phase, there is a lot of things going on. So we have a minimum signups attendees that we want to have to the webinar. We have the promotion no channels, the speakers, the details, the schedule, the agenda. A lot of times Neil is traveling across the globe doing speeches, and we need to synchronize his schedule. Probably you should be doing the same with your influencer or someone else on your company who will be the speakers. You need to check holidays. I remember we are about to publish this webinar campaign, and someone realized, oh, this is a holiday in the US, because we have such a global team. Not everybody is in the US, so we need to pay attention to the holidays across the globe, because our audience is global, and we have 20 countries that we have offices in. So every little details matter in the promotion. For instance, sometimes we don't use ads to promote, sometimes we do when we see a lot of a proportion on the results, the ROI potential. And the production, you always should have a checks before going live. And me, Barbara, everyone behind the scenes in the marketing team, we have several checklists, because we run the webinars and it's not perfect. Sometimes things happen, and a little mistake happen here and there. And but what you should do is you should learn from it, improve your checklist for the next time for that to not to happen. And the webinar is just the special event happening live, or recording or broadcasted live. So this is a live session, by the way. But post event is a very important aspect of doing a webinar, because you will see after we are doing this presentation and talking to you, answering questions, you will see a lot of engagement. A lot of people get in touch with you, with us after, saying that, oh, thanks for Neil, thanks for answering my question. That was so good that I want to have a conversation for you to help my business. So post webinar, you should gather the engagement for your audience and turn that into revenue. So then moving on, uh, there is this leveraging paid promotion. And as I said, uh, especially on social media, if you don't pay to play, you probably will lose. And there is a lot of engagement on social media. As long as you target the right audience, I promise you, every single dollar spending on ads will worth. And if doesn't generate a revenue, at least will generate some learnings for you to improve your landing pages, your messaging, and etc. So always give paid acquisition a try, because this will probably can improve in compound results for your campaign. And this is when and how we use ads to boost post visibilities on X. And it's funny, if you look at the average cost per click and average cost per thousand, it's incredible how you end up seeing different platforms performing better for different business. So what we do is we always test every single platform for different products, even different offers, and we don't choose the same platforms over and over again. We are always testing new ideas. And this it's average numbers here, but you should have your own benchmark and compare to others. But most important, you have to have experience spending on different platforms for you to see what is working for your business. All right, maybe B2C works better on Facebook or TikTok, but maybe B2C, B2B also work on TikTok. So you should test not just LinkedIn and etc., but you should test it out every single platform. And I bet, like, if you can create a case for your leadership, you can approve some testing budget to go and find the real numbers on each platform. All right. So I will transition to you again, Neil.
All right, number 8, engaging with non-followers. This is the real audience you need to engage with, because this is a new audience. This is how you build a loyal community, and this is how you generate more sales. You're only going to generate so much income from your followers. The real, majority out there is your non-followers. Even if you're Kim Kardashian, the majority of the world does not follow her. The majority of the world doesn't. The majority of the world is not following her. The majority, yes, they may know about her, but again, they're not engaging with her on a daily basis. Those are the people that you're selling to. So the problem, not enough engagement on social posts. And I had a stat about this earlier, in which we saw well over, I think it was 58% of the content in the last 30 days got little to no engagement. And we shared that earlier in this presentation. The problem is there's not enough engagement on social posts because there's too much content, and the engagement goes to the really highly engaged posts. So a quick solution, of course, you ideally want to create content with a great hook, amazing engagement that people love. But another thing that can help is every time we ask questions within our social content, we see 409% more comments and 351% more reach on average. Salo and I did an interesting experiment when I was in Brazil last week. All right, we filmed a piece of content, no joke, when we were outside in the rain. It wasn't high quality. You can see right here. The information they're reading online is giving them false information on what to do to actually achieve rankings. And so as you can see, I just said comment SEO, okay? That post was about someone downloading a free guide if they comment SEO. 100,000 views. Like, look, you can see 100,000 views. And the main reason was a lot of people just commented. I told them to comment SEO and in the video, and there's an image that just says comment SEO. Like, how much more clear than that purple image or pink or whatever color that is? It just says comment SEO. Can't get more direct than that. It really does help with engagement, and people take that for granted. It was helping with engagement so much so Salo was like, we should be doing this at least twice a week. And I was like, all right, at first I
Funny
think he
fact.
was like every day. I was like, no, that's too much, but twice a week we'll test it out.
Funny fact.
Um,
About 5,000 people download the piece, so we basically generate 5,000 leads.
okay, and then when you say 5,000 people downloaded it, you sent them a link, they commented, you sent them a link. They don't get to just download it right then and there. They have to give us their information, right?
Exactly. They go to a landing page and they give the information in exchange of the ebook.
And what information are we asking for? Name, email?
Name, email, phone number, industry, size of marketing team, business type, like several information. Like this is
Revenue? I think we asked revenue in there, right? Revenue.
revenue. Exactly.
Marketing budget. Do we ask marketing budget still or no?
Marketing budget, because look, you should sort out the trash from the quality. If people are not willing to give you such information, like, for you, that's okay. You're looking for the ones who want that. So I know our forms are sometimes a bit longer, but if even if including more fields are not decreasing our number of discovery calls we are doing on a monthly basis. So
Yep. No, totally. And even with X, I know with the slides we were showing X. If you don't have tons of followers on X, that's okay too. You can just use some paid ads on X and it'll end up giving you insights on what's working or what's not. You don't need tons of organic followers on X to see what's going to do well. Bonus tip, you can reel them in with tools. We have tools like Answer the Public, Ubersuggest, AdsGrader, MailGrader. 6.4 million people use our tools. Tools have done better for us than content. We think, a combination of both is ideal. If you can release free tools, it really helps a lot. So my content framework in a nutshell, you can just take a screenshot of this. We went over this, but we just wanted to post this here for recap so it'll help you. So key takeaways. Look, it's not about producing tons of content. It's about producing better results from the content you have. For me, it starts with X, and the reason is I can test on X without it penalizing me in the future for producing good or crap content, unlike other social networks. And my formula may work for you. We've tested on many industries. It typically does work. You may need to tweak it a little bit here or there, but we've seen it work well for both B2B and B2C. We have an upcoming webinar called Don't Panic, but Google released a big AI update for SEO. Here's how to adapt. We took this from a tweet. Just like I said, take your titles from X and put them for a blog post or a webinar or a hook. We're doing that right here, right? This is a prime example for it. Make sure you register for this. We're going to be breaking down all the stuff from Google Marketing Live and Google I/O and how you can adapt based on all the AI changes that they're doing. So that way you can succeed. It's going to be held June 4th at 8 a.m. PST. Funny enough, am I traveling then, Salo? June 4th?
yes, probably. I think so. No, it will be in between some travel.
Oh no, it's morning of before my flight. I have like 5 hours before my flight. Ah, perfect. Marina figured it out. She's great. And awesome. So, and then here's another one. If you need help just with your marketing or mapping out your content strategy or you're struggling, scan the QR code or go to npdigital.com, fill out your information. We're here to help. We'd love to see you succeed, and we know we can help you get there. So let's dive into some questions. Colin, what do you got for us?
All right. Good stuff, Salo. Good stuff, Neil. Lots of questions. Let's start with Neil. And this one, kind of not a trick question, but kind of tough. There was a lot of stats around time spent on site, I think, that prompted this question. Are mobile devices and desktop used the same way? I mean, can we state that mobile is more for entertainment and desktops for more work-related? So any insights there? I mean, are there breakdowns of that particular stat, I guess, is the question the audience member had.
One would think that desktop computers are more for work versus mobile. And in a lot of different countries, that may be true in certain industries like B2B. Yes, more people do work on a desktop computer, but that's not true for all cases. For example, India and Brazil, they're mobile first countries. A lot of people actually do a lot of work on mobile devices. It really depends on the industry and the region. These mobile devices, like these phones, are super popular because yes, you can watch videos and Netflix and Instagram, but you can also do email really well. You can schedule stuff in calendars. You can do Zoom calls on them. They're used for a combo of both. Desktop is used for more for work than for entertainment, but mobile is used for both.
Good answer. Thank you so much. Speaking of B2B, a lot of the testing and strategy is done on X. Any thoughts on that platform and B2B? Do you feel that there's a good B2B audience on X?
We're B2B. We test on X first.
Yep.
We're a prime example of it working out for B2B. It works out for B2B and B2C. We don't see a difference.
Yep. And there were, I think it was mentioned on maybe the last slide, but there were a couple of people that had questions about the extension, and it's Tweet Hunter, correct? That's being used?
Yeah.
When you
Tweet.
use Tweet Hunter, though, make sure you look at the recent tab. You're not looking at the all-time tab. The all-time tab shows you what's popular for a specific user since they pretty much have been on Twitter or X. That does not work well. You need to look at the recent tab. It shows you what people put out recently that others have loved and their algorithms currently love. That'll give you insights on ideas for hooks.
Awesome. There were, and I don't know, maybe this is for Saulo. Threads was always deemed sort of as a Twitter or an X sort of killer or competitor. Any testing or suggestions about Threads as opposed to X? Any feedback there?
Well, complementary to X should be your approach. Even though people say like, I just check Threads once a week, etc. Like at the very moment you can pick up someone that is interested on your product. But I would invest sometimes producing content for Threads, but also I will try some ads there and see the ROI. The thing is, when it comes to advertising, the most popular social platforms, they're crowded with advertising, and the cost per click is super high. If you take like the Threads or some other less popular platform, let's say, you'll see like a very good engagement, maybe a better ROI.
And
yeah, I mean,
one thing to mention with our company is we take what we put on X and we just copy and paste it and put it on Threads. A lot of times with Threads, you can't put as long as a post. So what we do is we just chop it up and you're just responding in a comment. You're doing a thread of whatever you're posting. And we see good traction on Threads. The main reason being is we don't necessarily think people are as active, but Facebook's just pushing it hard throughout their whole ecosystem. That's why we think Threads is worth using. Do I log in? No, I don't even know my Threads information. My team logs in and copies and pastes. I log into X though, myself manually. I'll log into Instagram. I'll log into TikTok. But it doesn't mean you can't have someone just copy and paste and put it on there. Something's better than nothing.
Good point. So Neil, lots of compliments regarding your short form videos that people see on various platforms. Is there any software ideas or tips to give the audience? A lot of people like those videos. Is there software that helps to produce those faster or quicker that you could mention?
Saulo, what do we use for it? I actually don't know.
I'll give you two because like there are too many. Okay, so a very good one is Opus Pro. Opus, OPUS.pro. It will take your long form videos and cut it in pieces and automatically generate captions for it. Like this is insane in a matter of a few seconds, you have like several, like dozens of short form videos based on the long form. This is one of my favorites. The second one is CapCut. It's very popular, is mostly free. There are automated captions also. It's easy to use, a
How do you
lot of
spell it?
features. Sorry?
How do you spell it?
CapCut. All right, CapCut. So that's an amazing tool to edit videos. Doesn't need to be even short form, but long form also. Those are my favorite too.
Awesome. Thank you, Saulo. Bookmark those, everybody. Lo-fi was mentioned. Lo-fi content, I think it was you, Neil, that mentioned it. Like 4 or 5 people said, what the heck is lo-fi content? Can you please explain?
Imagine filming from this and just like busting it out and talking. That's a lo-fi video. Or even using the back end of the camera and pointing to something and filming. That's lo-fi. Taking like a crazy big camera, having a production crew with crazy lighting and all this kind of stuff, that's considered like hi-fi content. Lo-fi, someone like me talking into my phone, that's considered more authentic. That does much better.
Yeah, and
Right? Think of
speaking of
hi-fi
video,
content as like a TV commercial or a Super Bowl ad. It doesn't resonate well with people on social. They want you. They want to connect with you. They don't want to connect with a, a modified version of you or a highly edited version of you.
Yep, yep. Neil, while we have you, a couple questions. Can you describe what EEAT stands for? I think it was mentioned about midway through the presentation.
Experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Think of those 4 elements when you're creating content. If you can integrate them in, it makes your content stand out. It's hard for AI to create content with experience. AI hasn't experienced something, right? Expertise as well, right? If you're an expert in marketing, I can create content on marketing. Or if you're authority, you show your trustworthiness. A great example of this, I hope no one ever gets sick. I'm knocking on wood for everyone. I'm a little superstitious. But let's say someone has cancer and they have chemotherapy and they survive. Imagine them talking about their experience going through chemotherapy. That's very different than a doctor talking about how chemotherapy works. A human talking about, hey, I was a cancer patient, I survived, here's my experience in chemo. That's really useful for other people who are about to go through it, right? It may not have all the elements of EEAT, and that's okay. Having 1 or 2 of the elements still makes the content very valuable.
Awesome. 1 or 2 more. This one hot off the press. What tools are you using to generate the QR codes? Are those Bitly, Saulo?
Yeah, well, there is a secret formula behind QR codes. As shorter the URL, as less complex the picture will appear. So you should always have a short form URL behind the QR code before you generate it. But there are free tools that we use to generate the QR code. Sometimes we take it a little bit with colors and etc. But if you search for free QR code generator on Google, like test it out, like the first 3 organic positions, you should be fine.
Awesome. And last one, this was asked a few times as well. Is there just a recommended length for the short form videos? I mean, are we talking 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Neil, any thoughts there? That's actually the final question.
Anything under a minute, you're fine. You could do over a minute too. I know platforms take it, but anything under a minute is fine. It's not about if it's over or under a minute because, you're going to lose people's attention. It really matters about the content quality. The reason I say under a minute is not all platforms do over a minute. For example, YouTube Shorts, if you have a video that's 61 seconds long, it won't work. It needs to be, under 60 seconds or right at 60 seconds. Instagram, you can do longer. TikTok, you can do longer, but that doesn't work with YouTube Shorts.
Thanks, Neil. Last question. So the QR code overlay that I see right now at the bottom left of the screen, Saulo, is that through Restream or how's that? How's that
Oh,
working? Do you know?
good question. So behind the scenes here, there is Restream.io platform for us to be able to broadcast across several social media platforms and YouTube and etc. And under the studio version, which is the one that is handled by our team behind the scenes, you have overlays. You can strategic position some QR codes there, here, and like there is this very interesting feature. If you please, Igor, turn on the QR code in the middle, and look at how cool is that. So if somebody goes here and actually scan the QR code and click their URL, the QR code will blink. I just did that. Like you see the blink on the top? It's because somebody actually scanned the code and went to the URL. So those
But
little
what are you using to do that, Salo? What's the tool that you're using? So you're using a studio version of Restream, and you're
Restream.
Restream.io,
able
yeah.
to overlay the QR code in the middle. How do you get it to show up at the top so people know that someone did
It's
it? Is it a
automatic.
feature within Restream?
It's a
In
feature,
Restream.
yeah,
In
exactly,
Restream.
exactly. All right.
Awesome. Thank you,
See,
Salo.
8
Little
viewers scan.
tips and tricks from the pros. Yeah. Someone just did it again. Well,
Yep.
that's all the questions from the audience. Good job, you two. Thanks so much. And thank you to the audience.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to scan the QR codes. You'll see a little message pop at the top if you actually test it out right now. And if you need help with your marketing, npdigital.com. We're a global ad agency. We can help people all around the world, no matter what size business you are, get more traffic, sales, leads online, whether it's B2B, B2C. We look forward to working with you guys and helping you out. Look at this. See, I told you guys to scan. 12 viewers scan the QR code right now. It works. We actually generate
People
a
are
lot of
doing
leads
it
from
to make
this.
us happy.
Awesome. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, take care.
My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.